Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel and another episode of the series English Made Easy. Today we are going to discuss a lesson, The Eyes Are Not Here, written by Ruskin Bond. This is a beautiful short story and I'm sure that you are all going to enjoy reading it. Come on, let's jump into the video. The Eyes Are Not Here by Ruskin Bond. About the author. Ruskin Bond is a British Indian author who has played an important part in improving Indian literature. He currently resides with his adoptive family in Landour, Missouri, India. He has written and published a number of novels and short stories. Ruskin was also honored by the Indian Council for Children's Education for his services to the advancement of Indian literature. He received the Sahitya Akademi Award in 1992 for his book Our Trees Still Grow in Dera. Ruskin was also awarded the Padma Shri in 1999, India's fourth highest civilian distinction. Padma Vibhushan, India's second highest civilian decoration, was bestowed upon him in 2014. The title of the story, that is the present story, The Eyes Are Not Here, can be justified on the grounds that the two main characters in the story are blind. Because they are blind, they are unaware of each other's blindness during their encounter aboard the train. So let us move into the story. Before we move into the story, let us understand some words, difficult words under vocabulary. The first one is to see off, means to go to an airport station with someone who is beginning a journey and to bid goodbye. Second word, startle, to cause someone to be suddenly surprised, sometimes making them jump. When somebody talks behind us or suddenly appear in front of me, we get startled. Okay. Third word, register on, to have an effect, to be noticed or remembered. So sometimes we have the associative memory, and when we look at something, we get reminded of something else. So that gets registered on our memory. Fourth word, formidable, means causing anxiety or fearful respect. When we are afraid of someone and we have to regard them, there is a kind of formidable feeling within us. That means we do respect them, but with a kind of fear. Fifth one is dahlia, means a garden flower with a lot of brightly colored petals. We come across these kind of flowers in the mountainous regions. They are called as dahlia. Next word, romantic fool, means a highly imaginative person, one who imagines a lot. He is called as romantic fool. Seventh word, pretense, means an action or way of behaving that is intended to make people believe something that is not true. That means acting. Eighth word, panting, means the condition of being out of breath. Here, the sound made by the engine. The author compares the sound of the engine as if it is panting or breathing heavily. Ninth word, venture, to make a statement in an uncertain or hesitant manner. When we hesitate and when we have some kind of restriction and we talk, that is called as venturing. Tenth word, flattery, excessive or insincere praise. Sometimes people give false praising. That is called as flattery. 11th word, gallant, means a man politely attentive to women or a daring person is called as gallant. 12th word, tantalizing, means causing temptation. We feel like doing what is not supposed to do or what we are forbidden to do. That is called as tantalizing. 13th word, linger, means to remain or to stay on. 14th, stammer, to speak with difficulty. 15th word and the last word is reverie. That means a state of imagining or thinking about pleasant things. As in a dream. We also call it as a daydream. So these are some of the words we are going to come across in the lesson. And then we have to understand these words before we move on to read the lesson. So now, before we read the lesson, I would like to tell you that the reading comprehension should be there. That means reading is an important skill we have to develop whenever we read a text. So we have to read with full comprehension. What does comprehension mean? Comprehension means understanding. So whenever we read a text, we should be in a position to understand it thoroughly. Means every word and every sentence we have to understand without the help from others. We need not, of course, if when we come across a unfamiliar word, we need not consult a dictionary every time, but we should be in a position to take the help of the context and then understand the word or the unfamiliar word. There are two important techniques before we go into reading so that the comprehension is complete. The first technique is rereading. So, whenever we don't understand on the first reading, we have to reread it. This is a very, very effective technique to understand a passage or a text. We have to read it, and it is not possible for anyone to understand on the very first reading. We have to at least read it twice or thrice to understand the text completely. And the second strategy is self questioning. So, whenever we read a passage, we have to question, what did I read? Now, what did the person do? What did the author tell? Or what did the narrator tell? Like that, whenever we put questions after reading a sentence or a paragraph or a small paragraph, that also helps us to enhance our comprehension. So, all of you, I think you will follow these kind of two important techniques to improve upon our reading comprehension. Why? Because there should be understanding, and there are various levels of understanding from basic to critical level of understanding. The critical level of understanding is the highest level of understanding. So, as grown ups, we have to go to the critical level of understanding from basic level of understanding. So, let's begin the lesson with these two techniques in the mind. And in this lesson, I am going to follow the self questioning. So, instead of you putting the questions, I will put the questions after reading two or three paragraphs. Please try to answer them. And the answers I have given for the Telugu background students. I'm also preparing this lesson for the Telugu background students, and the link will be given in the description box, and the answers for the comprehension questions are given there. Please follow it. Let us move on to the lesson. Before we start the comprehension process, I would like to advise you all to read the entire lesson silently for once and then listen to my reading. Okay. The Eyes Are Not Here by Ruskin Bond. I had the compartment to myself up to Rohana, and then a girl got in. The couple who saw her off were probably her parents. They seemed very anxious about her comfort, and the woman gave the girl detailed instructions as to where to keep her things, when not to lean out of the windows, and how to avoid speaking to strangers. They said their goodbyes, the train pulled out of the station. As I was totally blind at the time, my eyes sensitive only to light and darkness, I was unable to tell what the girl looked like. But I knew she wore slippers from the way they slapped against her heels. It would take me some time to discover something about her looks, and perhaps I never would. But I liked the sound of her voice and even the sound of her slippers. Are you going all the way to Dera? I asked. I must have been sitting in a dark corner because my voice startled her. She gave a little exclamation and said, I didn't know anyone else was here. Well, it often happens that people with good eyesight fail to see what is right in front of them. They have too much to take in, I suppose. Whereas people who cannot see or see very little have to take in only the essentials, whatever registers more tellingly on their remaining senses. I didn't if I would be able to prevent her from discovering that I was blind, I thought. Provided I keep to my seat, it shouldn't be too difficult. The girl said, I'm getting down at Saharanpur. My aunt is meeting me there. Now let us try to comprehend this passage with the help of these questions. Actually, these questions are meant to question by the reader themselves, by the readers themselves. Okay. First question, what do you mean by I had the compartment to myself up to Rohana? Second question, what happened at Rohana? Third question, who came to see her off? Fourth, what instructions did the woman give the girl? Fifth, what did the author like about the girl? Sixth, what startled the girl? Seventh, what do the people who cannot see take in? 8. What was the author's intention? 9. Where was the girl getting down? 10. Who was coming to meet the girl? So, all of you, please try to answer these questions. If you are able to answer all these questions, that means your comprehension is wonderful. You have comprehended the entire passage. And I am not telling the answers since these are very easy for you all. But for the Telugu background students, I am preparing another video as I told you. There I'll be discussing the answers. Then I had better not be too familiar, I said. Ants are usually formidable creatures. Where are you going? She asked. To Dehra and then to Mussoorie. Oh, how lucky you are. I wish I were going to Mussoorie. I love the hills, especially in October. Yes, this is the best time, I said, calling on my memories. The hills are covered with wild dahlias, the sun is delicious, and at night you can sit in front of a log fire and drink a little brandy. Most of the tourists have gone, and the roads are quiet and almost deserted. Yes, October is the best time. She was silent, and I wondered if my words had touched her, or whether she thought me a romantic fool. Then I made a mistake. What is it like? I asked. She seemed to find nothing strange in the question. Had she noticed already that I could not see? But her next question removed my doubts. Why don't you look out of the window? She asked. I moved easily along the berth and felt for the window ledge. The window was open and I faced it, making pretense of studying the landscape. I heard the panting of the engine, the rumble of the wheels, and in my mind's eye I could see the telegraph post flashing by. Have you noticed, I ventured, that the trees seem to be moving while we seem to be standing still? That's, that always happens, she said. Do you see any animals? Hardly any animals left in the forest near Dera. I turned from the window and faced the girl, and for a while we sat in silence. Let us try the comprehension part with these questions. Question number 1. Why did the narrator say he had better not be too familiar? Second, what is the opinion of the narrator about ants? Third, what did the girl ask the narrator? Fourth, where was the narrator going? Fifth, why did the girl comment that the narrator was lucky? Sixth, according to the narrator, how does Mussoorie look like in October? Seventh, what mistake did the narrator think he has made? 8. How did the narrator pretend to study the landscape through the wind? So these were the questions you were supposed to answer. If you had answered all the questions correctly, that means your comprehension is complete and wonderful. Let's move on to the next part of the story. You have an interesting face, I remarked. I was becoming quite daring, but it was a safe remark. Few girls can resist flattery. She laughed pleasantly, a clear, ringing laugh. It's nice to be told I have an interesting face. I'm tired of people telling me I have a pretty face. Oh, so you do have a pretty face, thought I, and aloud I said, You are very gallant young man, she said. But why are you so serious? I thought then that I would try to laugh for her, but the thought of laughter only made me feel troubled and lonely. We'll soon be at your station, I said. Thank goodness it's a short journey. I can't bear to sit in a train for more than 2 or 3 hours. Yet I was prepared to sit there for almost any length of time, just to listen to her talking. Her voice had the sparkle of a mountain stream. As soon as she left the train, she would forget our brief encounter, but it would stay with me for the rest of the journey and for some time after. The engine's whistle shrieked, the carriage wheels changed their sound and rhythm. The girl got up and began to collect her things. I wondered if she wore her hair in a bun, or if it was plaited, or if it hung loose over her shoulders, or if it was cut very short. Now let us try to comprehend the passage I read just now. Question number 1. What did the narrator remark about the girl? 2. What was the opinion of the narrator about the girls? 3. How did the girl react to the narrator's compliment? 4. What compliment did the girl give the narrator? 5. What would laughter make the narrator feel? 6. How long can the girl sit in a train? 7. How long can the narrator sit in the train? Why? 8. What did the girl's voice have? 9. What did the narrator wonder when the girl was getting ready to get off the train? So, if you are able to answer these questions, your comprehension is wonderful. Let's move on to the next part. The train drew slowly into the station. Outside, there was the shouting of the porters and vendors and a high pitched female voice near the carriage door, which must have belonged to the girl's aunt. Goodbye, said the girl. She was standing very close to me, so close that the perfume from her hair was tantalizing. I wanted to raise my hand and touch her hair, but she moved away, and only the perfume still lingered where she had stood. You may break, you may shatter the vase if you will, but the scent of the roses will linger there still. There was some confusion in the doorway. A man, getting into the compartment, stammered an apology. Then the door banged shut and the world was shut out again. I returned to my berth. The guard blew his whistle and we moved off. Once again, I had a game to play with a new fellow traveler. The train gathered speed, the wheels took up their song, the carriage groaned and shook. I found the window and sat in front of it, staring into the daylight that was darkness from me. So many things were happening outside the window. It couldn't be a fascinating game, guessing what went on out there. The man who had entered the compartment broke into my reverie. You must be disappointed, he said. I'm not as attractive a traveling companion as the one who just left. She was an interesting girl, I said. Can you tell me, did she keep her hair long or short? I don't remember, he said, sounding puzzled. It was her eyes, I noticed, not her hair. She had beautiful eyes, but they were of no use to her. She was completely blind. Didn't you notice? So, this was the lesson, students. And now the comprehension questions. Question number 1. What effect did the perfume from the girl's hair have on the narrator? Second, You may break, you may shatter the vase if you will, but the scent of the roses will linger there still. What does this line mean? 3. Once again, I had a game to play. What game does the narrator want to play? Question number 4. Why was the world shut out again for the narrator? Question number 5. The wheels took up their song. What does this line mean? 6. How was the daylight appear to the narrator? 7. What was the fascinating game the narrator was talking about? 8. What did the narrator finally realize about the girl from the fellow traveler? So these were all the comprehension questions. Hope you are able to answer all of them. And if you have completely answered these questions, that means you are thorough with this beautiful short story written by Ruskin Bond. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe if you have really liked it. And the textual questions which are given at the end of the text will be discussed in the next video, and the link is given in the description box. See you soon in the next video. Bye.